Here we go. Hey, look at this. We have 13 people in the chat. Hello, everyone. The Fingers, hello. Asher, hello. Gene Callahan, hello. Boone, welcome. Take Slotcar Garage, hello. Dusty, hello. How's everyone doing? How's your weeks? We have Warren in the house. We have Dave Kennedy, of course, graciously in the house as well. Marty, as usual, and George, who's just been amazingly building a wood track like it's nothing in a week. Like he
You guys
feels
can do it.
like he's been doing it. He's been doing it since forever. Hey, Shotgun Dave, welcome. Yeah, so I know George has been really busy with track, but let's talk about everyone else. Dave, how's your week?
Good so far.
Yeah, congrats on the 7,000. Like Marty was saying, you're
Thank
leading
you
the
very
way,
much. I
man. You're
appreciate
showing
it.
us all. You're showing us all how it's done. Thank you so much.
Well, it's a labor of love, let me tell you.
Yeah,
Amen.
for sure. Warren is new to the house. Warren is from Windsor, Ontario. He's going to talk to us today about his journey in slot cars. But Warren, how's your week so far?
It's Monday. it's it's a Monday.
Still early.
It's last week was very very hectic. Because I'm starting up. I'm starting off, and I found a space that I'm going to open a small retail spot in,
Yeah,
and then was getting all the socials and website and everything ready. So that was a wee bit hectic.
yeah,
And I did a show on the weekend where I set up a track at a market, and I had really good turnout. Lots of people showed up, and the kids loved it. It was a hit. Everybody enjoyed it. In total, I just had Smart Race running in the background. There was six cars, and they were 1,047 laps per car. 1,076 was the top end.
oh, that's
Wow.
really good.
Carrera
crazy.
cars, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And they took a couple. There was a couple offs. I turned down. I have a variable power supply, so I turned it down a little bit, and found the right pace that they could race at, and it didn't have any offs, and so we could put it in some solid laps,
Nice,
and everybody loved it. It was great.
cool.
Yeah.
Marty, how was your week? I saw you run your 962 on that track. You're booking it now.
It's a good runner, man, and I love the livery. So I've been doing some Group C tuning.
Yeah.
So I really like Group C cars. That's what I'm finding out. So yeah, had some
Yeah.
track time last night with my brother and Dusty, who's on this in the chat, and John Mark, and we had a good time and got some cars tuned up. And I'm hosting a race day on Saturday for a handful of people, so that should be fun.
Awesome. And George, track's looking solid. How was it?
Fine, just plugging away.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for all the videos you've been putting out. It's been like really refreshing to watch. It's been awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll get introduced to Warren first, and then we'll get into our topic. So, Warren, you're taking center stage, and you're going to tell us a little bit about your journey into slot cars, what brought
Well,
you here, and yeah, take it away.
well, basically, what brought me here was you guys. I've been watching you guys for the last 2 years, and I've subscribed to all your channels, and I listened to last week's show, and you said get in there, and so I took your advice and I've done that, and
Nice.
Good job.
so here I am, and I guess I'm going to start out my journey, and I'm gonna do the YouTube, and I'll document everything, and up with Facebook, and I hope to get a lot of people following, and I'll share that experience with you, the good, the bad, the ugly. Hope you don't see me cry. So, um, but yeah,
Yeah, so
I
tell us a
actually
little
come.
bit more about yourself. Like, how did you
I
get
I
into slot cars?
I I started when I was a kid. and basically it was the Aurora AFX stuff, back then, and then um, started. I I was in Canada, and then I went overseas, and then all they had was Scale Electric.
Right.
So we used to race Scale Electric. We used to go to my friends. We'd race Scale Electric. We'd go to church, go to my friends on the Sunday, race Scale Electric, and watch Formula One. That was our day.
Right.
So um, I started with 132 and Scale Electrics, and we didn't know Carrera, and I didn't actually know about Carrera till like 2008. But I was collecting diecast, Hot Wheels, and I've been a 917 fanatic. I love 917 Porsches, and so anytime I saw one, or I'd go look for them in the Hot Wheels aisles, and try and find 917s because I love 917s. And
Yeah.
what I would do is I basically just started with the Carrera, Carrera track now during COVID, because there was like a hiatus where I didn't do anything for years. Um, I'm jumping around. I'm sorry. The I should go back to like 2000. I had back then I had a Scale Electric track, and I had GB track and fly cars, and I loved my fly cars.
Right.
And I don't know if it was because my local hobby store didn't carry anything, or it was just the beginning of the internet. Um, but there wasn't. I didn't know. I knew about Scale Electric, but for whatever reason, I missed Carrera, and I was just into the Fly and GB track, and I didn't know anything else. So, well, I guess Fly is GB track, right? And so I bought
They
those. I
were,
bought a lot.
yeah, they're out of business now, but they were, yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a bunch of those, and that was like I had my race cars, and then I have all my shelf queens that are I just look at. And then it's just like I'll have them in boxes, and I'll go and open the box once in a while. I'm like, oh, there it is. It's like, oh. So, it's so I love my slot cars. I love my 917s in particular. And uh, during COVID, I think kind of like some of you guys started racing, and I was getting track and buying track, and I was on Marketplace on a regular basis, and I was driving up to Toronto buying track, and so I've got quite a lot of Scale Electric, digital and analog. Led up with a polycar track. I just ordered a 4-lane polycar track, and then uh, Carrera digital and analog or evolution.
Okay.
So.
So you're
So
digital and analog?
I do. I race both. Currently, I don't have a track at home. I had a track in my basement, and then what we've done is between this, I go race at friends on Wednesday, and then I'm gonna have a little track at the shop, and then have the guys come out there. But I'm looking for a bigger location. Ideally, it's my philosophy. To my wife's chagrin, is if I build it, they will come, and I believe that. I don't know. I just do believe that, because I talked to enough guys that are in this area. I mean, there's probably a lot of people that don't know that there's actually people that are into the hobby, because our local hobby stores don't even support it. And I've heard that the last slot track that was in the city, which it's 220,000 population, Windsor, was in 1982, I think it was. But I mean, that's just hearsay because I didn't live here at that time.
So you have
But
a shop in Windsor?
yes, I'm opening a shop in Windsor, a small shop, and to start online store presence, going to do the social media, and then I'm going to hit um different events, markets, and just try and get more guys racing, get more people into the hobby, try and boost the hobby, and
Hmm.
get more people basically involved.
so how do you
As far as
transition from a hobbyist to a store owner?
I'm gonna find out.
No, but what drives you? I mean, like it's we
What?
all driven by something, right? So, what
Yeah,
drove you to say, okay, you know what, I'm actually going to take this to the next level, set down some roots, open up a shop, and get started?
it's because I love it. And I believe that others will love it too. And like I said, if I build a place and they'll come.
Oh yeah,
If I have options as far as tracks and it could be an educational thing. It could be field trips for kids. You could bring them in. You could touch on the engineering that's involved with it, the electronics. It's there's I just I believe that then we don't have a place there's nothing here. There's nothing in my area that does that. Like even we've had guys with RC tracks, and they start out great, and then they let the track go. They don't really. I don't think they service their customers. Where I you know I just want to bring people into the fold and have them participate.
okay.
So
I mean, everyone's got a different outlook on it, and that's great.
yeah.
But I think the one thing is no fear. Just do it. If you got that, then you'll be successful. Um, what are you racing right now? What's your favorite, cars? Talk to me about your personal journey in the hobby. What you really like to do.
What I really like to do
Like what you really
is
like to do. What cars you're working on right now? What's your
I'm I'm
favorites?
I'm not tuning that though. As far as tuning goes, I've got like I had this car, and I had Ernie tune it for me.
Oh,
So
Ernie, yeah,
he slammed it, and he's put new bushings in it. It's a pro slot, Looney Tunes, Monster
yeah,
Raving Looney. But
nice.
that was just for fun. But I've got a bunch of his other cars. Um, I rate my 333 SP. I raced and that's
Dusty,
nice on my
stop
on
drooling. Dusty, stop drooling.
on my Ninko. It goes and it's such a nice car out of the box. I haven't got into you know, I guess I'm just a beginner like you guys as far as or you guys are past consider you guys are not beginners, but like yeah, other people that might be joining in. I'm kind of like at the beginner level as far as tuning. I don't I try and encourage the guys to come out, get a car, bring a standard car out of the box, race it, put different tires on it, maybe change to a Frankenslot guide. But be there just for the competitiveness of it and camaraderie, being together, spending some time around the track, have some laughs. So I've got I got a I think 962.
Yep.
Yep.
Uh, so yeah,
If you'd like to get set up as an NSR dealer, I can help get that done, by the way.
oh, fantastic, Dave. That would be awesome. I have a couple NSRs. I've got the 908s.
Hmm.
They're great little rockets. And
Yep.
again, I'm not tuning because I know the guys adjust and they'll put float on the bodies and all the rest of it. A couple of these cars I bought at a state auction, and the guy used to race, and he was up in Toronto, and so I could, he's put float into the chassis, loosened up the screws, and he's put tape on the bottom, keep the screws in, so in case they came out completely, so they didn't short the track, I guess. But um, that was I got. There's my one of my favorites, the 917. So we're doing a little show and tell here.
Very cool.
This is just
That's a
this,
good
yeah.
car.
And then this car cost me a ton of money.
Oh yeah.
In the States, it's reasonably priced, but I got
Mm.
dinged with brokerage, customs, and I don't know, a fuel surcharge or something. They just nailed me with everything. I was like, it was almost the price of the car just in the fees to get that car. But I paid it, and I was like, that's okay. She's gonna sit here, and it's mine. I have one.
Yeah.
So
Well, I have envy for anyone who's building an MDF kit right now because, like, I don't know my journey. Like, I want to get a racetrack scenics kit,
Hmm.
but I showed Marty and George my price for shipping. So I put $230 worth of US worth of racetrack scenics into a cart, and my shipping was
Hmm.
$497 US
Whoa, holy crap!
Wow.
to
It's
me in
nuts.
Toronto, and I was like,
Yeah.
no, I don't think so. So
Yeah.
Give
yeah,
me
so anyone,
$100 and I'll drive it to you.
yeah, it's
That's right.
crazy. Like no, I was literally blown away. I was like, this is almost like double the cost of what I'm ordering.
Yeah.
It's really ridiculous. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. Not.
talk to us about. So you have those sculptures in the back of you, so might as well introduce those as well. Come on, Warren.
Oh, this is I could make lots of jokes about that, but
Yeah.
I promise to behave. Uh, this is a friend of mine. An artist, and he's battling PTSD, and I love him. And he makes these. They're all made of washers. He's welds them together. He'll cast you, and he's done some of his subjects like pregnant women want their bumps, done. So then he casts it, and then uses that cast to make a mold, and then creates the art piece. And then it's actually got LED lights in it. They're just off at the moment,
Yeah.
but
It's
he's
really cool.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
His name's Marty too.
Oh yeah,
All these
Yeah.
Martys, really good guys.
very talented. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Warren? Please put them in the chat.
Yeah.
Warren, thank you
I
so much, like, for sharing with
oh,
us.
you hear? Yeah.
Yeah. Warren, can you
Oh,
let us know how we can find you? When are you opening your store? What's the plan, like, in the near
I'm
future? Yeah.
I I have everything. I'm going there tomorrow. I'm gonna start unloading. So I will be
Okay.
in the store. I'm gonna post the address and have everything. As soon as I get off the chat tonight, I hope to have the website done, which will have the address on it, and have uh, be live anyway
Yeah.
with what I've got so far. And I've right now I've got Carrera, and then my own personal cars that I've got in my own collection that I'm going to be selling a few of those that I have doubles of, and etc.
Okay.
I can't see the comments because should I go to the YouTube thing?
Yeah, you can check the
A
YouTube.
little.
Like, you can be on there with a mute. Just mute the tab, and you can see all the comments. But I'm putting up comments as we're talking. So
Okay. Oh,
as
there you go.
people ask,
I got it.
I will see. Yeah. But Sunday Slot Cars is in the house, and he says standard
Yes,
Canadian shipping.
he's
Yeah.
he was my dealer.
He's everyone's dealer. He's my
Yeah,
crack dealer.
right.
Um, yeah.
Okay, there
Better
I'm
Um,
than
in the
Canada.
chat.
cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, Warren. It's gonna stick around. We're gonna go into our topic for tonight. Um, and let's go back here. Hey, everyone's there. All right. So, yeah. So we had discussed the topic that we're talking about today is how to select the right brand of track for you. How do you get around that? What are the common pitfalls to watch out for? What you should, what are the parameters you should look at when you're selecting a track? It's something that we had decided and we discussed. And Marty, you want to take it away? Initial stab. How did you come to choose Carrera? Would you have chosen something else?
So when I first started researching, the very first thing I did was I went to YouTube and I searched digital slot car tracks, I think, and Dave's video. Sorry, Dave, I'll give you a plug. Dave's video came up where he was showing the difference between Carrera, Scalectrics, and Polycar based on size, like the differences in the R1s and R2s and R3s force and the space that you needed. And then MP's track building video when he had finished his layout, kind of watched that video, and then I went down the rabbit hole of trying to decide whether I knew I wanted to go digital. So then it was, at that point, it was between Carrera and Scalextrics, and I just did a bunch of research on, trying to decide what best fit my space. I knew I had a pretty big space to work with, so and then what was available locally for me that made it really easy. So that's why I landed at Carrera. But I did. I'll be honest with you. I researched. Dave might remember this. I sent him an email with a bunch of questions, and he was gracious enough to respond to me to answer some of my questions. But I probably researched about 3 or 4 months before I even bought anything.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a question right here from Asher University. He says, "Hey everyone, I've got a question. I'd like to know how to clean a Carrera track. I purchased some Carrera track this past weekend from a guy who had it in storage shed for about 9 months. So on the first stab, Carrera track is normally made of stainless steel, so it shouldn't corrode. So the first thing I do is actually check for corrosion. But Dave, you have more experience than any of us here, so let me know what you think."
If the rails are okay, and probably they are, you can just use Windex. That's a fairly mild solvent. I wouldn't use anything stronger than that. If the rails are corroded, good luck, because they actually will corrode. I've some friends used Scotch-Brite pads on Carrera track one time, and it cut into the rail, the surface, and it absolutely did rust. Carrera rails are not fully stainless; they're an alloy, so they will corrode. It's not terribly common, but it absolutely will happen because I've seen it. I've seen them rust, but it was only after an extreme Scotch-Brite incident, let's say. Um, but Carrera track is something that, even if it's in a storage shed and the surface is got a lot of dust on it, you should be able to clean it pretty easily. I mean, soap and water could clean it as well. The regular track pieces are just folded metal in plastic, and they will dry fine. I've had track in the rain before, and it does dry fine, so it's no big deal. But yeah, if the rails are corroded, you're kind of out of luck, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Marty, you have any experience cleaning any rails? So what do you use to clean your track right now?
I use Simple Green,
Okay.
and it seems to do a pretty good job. I've used Windex. I've used rubbing alcohol, but I've kind of landed on Windex and Simple Green.
Yeah, so do you actually clean, when you clean your track? This is a good question anyway. So I bought I think Slot Invasion has that little tool that goes in the middle of your track, and you can run it right through. And I put rubbing alcohol on that, and I rub it through the middle of the track just to clean the inside of the rails, because you do get scuff marks in there. Do you do that as well often?
Yeah, I clean that way. And then my brother bought the little track cleaner that you push around with the car.
Yeah.
And that actually does a really good job. You just put a car in ghost mode and forget about it for 10 or 15 minutes, and it does a nice job of cleaning.
Yeah, that's what I use my 124 cars. I put two little Velcros, and I have, the face swabs, the little round ones, and I just attach them to the Velcro, and I put some rubbing alcohol and let that car run the track. That's how I clean my track. Yeah.
Carrera's got the track cleaning truck coming out this year.
And so Asher is asking, what about the track itself, the plastic part of the track? Yeah, Simple Green should clean that really well. Windex does a good job too. It all comes down to how weathered the track is, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely. Simple Green is a little more. I mean, I've not tested this terribly much, but I do know Simple Green has a little more solvent in it, I believe. So it may pull more oil out of the track.
I'll be right back, guys.
There's oil in the plastic track, and if you put a solvent, a very hard solvent, onto Carrera track, it will discolor it after some period of time, or some number of times, and it could make it brittle, more brittle over the years. But that's a number of years. I've cleaned. I had a track that I had taken around literally for years to dozens of events at when I worked for Carrera, and I would clean it with a microfiber cloth and Windex and paper towels every day before I started an event, and or a Swiffer. I see John Albright mentioning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's just be careful not to go overboard with solvent based cleaners.
Yeah. We use Simple Green to strip paint off models. That's what I know. What I use Simple Green for. So when we paint models and we want to strip the acrylic paint off it, we dump it in a bath of Simple Green and then take a toothbrush like the next day, 24 hours later, and you just scrub it and all the paint comes off. That's what I use Simple Green for. Most of the time, I use a Swiffer, rubbing alcohol, or even Windex. That's pretty much how I clean my track. I know Ernie at with the big polycard track. He's built like a little, one of those paint rollers, and he's put double-sided tape around that paint roller, and he rolls that on the track, and it picks up all the dirt off the track as well. So that's pretty much what I've seen, and that's what people are doing to clean the tracks. So I hope that answers your question, Asher. Yeah, keep on asking questions, guys. We'll get to them. If I miss your question, just repost it. I'm sorry if I do. Yeah, so Marty, yes, we're going back to that. You watched Dave Kennedy's video. You saw the differences between the different brands. Something that I discovered, like I haven't really, when I got into the hobby, I was on Skelectric. Back in the 70s, my grandfather had a 20-meter Skelectric track in Kenya. That's where I started. And I hadn't seen the Skelectric track since. I'd seen SEX Digital in 2005 when I opened my hobby store in Toronto. And I actually had a 10-foot by 10-foot table with a Skelectric SEX Digital track. And then when I sold the store, it went with the store. And then I got into Carrera. So recently, I just purchased Skelectric, which was the last video. I was really surprised at how malleable the Skelectric track is. It's very floppy. Like you get once you pick up and it's also very oily. I found like there's a residue to the Skelectric track when I picked it out of the box. Yeah, so very shocking. It was very odd for me, and the difference is about like 2-inch difference between the track sizes in width between the Carrera and the Skelectric. So that was very interesting to see. Yeah.
Yeah, and Skelectric will sag if it's hot, and over time it will sag in between the reinforcing ribs, I guess you'd call them, on the back side of the track.
Yeah.
So over time, and SCX will do the exact same thing too. I saw that happen one day with SCX track when I did an event with Flying Lizard, the race team, and we had half of the track. We were in their paddock, and we had half of their track, or half of the track was in direct sunlight for about 5 hours, and the whole end of the track was sagging under the reinforcing ribs. It looked really, really bad, and the track was really extra. It was softer than it should have been.
Yeah.
It was like you could push on it and it would stay down.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a 100-degree day, but still.
Yeah, it was really shocking for me because I was doing the video live and I unboxed the Skelectric track live. So when I picked it up, I was like, "Whoa!" It was so oily, like it's so different, like the finish on Skelectric. And I don't remember. I think people say that the Carrera track is slippery, but I feel the Skelectric track is just as slippery, if not more. So, but that's interesting.
It's definitely more slippery than the Carrera stuff, and in my experience, it doesn't stay together as well as Carrera does. That's why, really, the choice for me personally was before I had seen Polycar track was going to be Carrera track for my own track, but then I got Polycar and that changed that. So
Yeah. Stanislaus says we all sag when we get older, not just electric. So yes, we do. John Wilson has a question for you, Marty. He says he saw a post that you had a variable power supply for your track. What are the advantages to running a track with a variable power supply?
Yeah, he added if you're not running 124 cars.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's a lot of advantages to having that, but if you're running 132nd, if you're running digital, the CU can control the power to the cars. There's no reason to have an adjustable power supply, in my opinion, because the CU can do all that for you. It can govern all the cars and control the brakes and control the the power to the cars. So really, the only advantage is if you, I guess, you could buy the Carrera 124 scale power supply, which is about $70, and I paid $49 for my adjustable power supply. So that's why I went that route.
Yeah. So 33 Bean Raceway says I settle on Polycar track. 1 space I have to work with, 2 analog scratch building tests, and 3 tinkering so that the oxygen system appeals to me. Yeah, so I don't know much about oxygen, but maybe Dave, you know more about it. I've heard about it. I've never seen it in action, but I know that it is a little bit. It is like a competitor to the Carrera Digital. So can you speak to the oxygen system?
I've seen it used a number of times, and it's definitely. I would consider it the hobbyist grade quality digital. It surpasses Carrera. I mean, it's they're two entirely different systems. They're both digital, but the Carrera system is based on a plug and play system. It's not at all made for hobbyists. It's much more limited. I know I'm often roundly criticized for saying this, but it is made to a spec, and if you go outside the spec of what it's made for, you can run into problems. You just can. Uh, Oxygen is not made to that spec. Oxygen is made to mill spec quality. It is high end, high power capability. It is all that chips and change. It is what we should all aspire to, as far as I'm concerned, for digital. Um, but it is not a plug and play system, and it's much more limited in what's available for it so far. I do expect that at some point, Polycar will have Galileo Engineering, who owns Polycar and Slot It, will offer complete digital systems at some point. That's not available yet, but I do expect they will be in the near future. Um, I've seen the system run a number of times, and it's very, very impressive. Very um, it's very in depth with what it can do. I've never used it. I've never operated it myself personally, so I can't talk about you know the kinds of things it can do. But I've seen Maurizio demo it over many, many years, and the 24-hour race, the disco race,
Mm-hmm.
probably was just done. I believe that was Oxygen as well. So
Yeah, that track was impressive too. So, yeah, the oxygen system seems like I think when you run Carrera and you're saying the Carrera family, the digital system works great. I think it's amazingly built. It's engineered for it. It's great. It's when you start adding, like I remember when I was running digital and I got my first slotted, and I put a bigger motor into it and I put a chip into it, and the first thing I did when I pressed on the track, it just went, the lights went off on the CE unit and everything, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's not built for this, and that's something that you'll run into with digital. Carrera is built to run Carrera cars. If you want something a bit more robust, yeah, I guess the oxygen is a step up from that.
all of
So
the digital systems currently that are plug and play are made to run only their own cars.
Yeah.
There's no, I mean, Oxygen is made to run anything, but again, it's not a plug and play kind of an system.
Yeah, so we have another question from Gene Callahan here. He ordered his first non-Carrera car, Scalectric 67 Cougar. What chip do you recommend to add to the car so that I can run it on my digital track? So I run Scalectric on my Carrera, and I use a Carson chip. It's the easiest thing to run with a Scalectric car because it's got the DPR door, and it's a quick swap over. That's my take for it. I do know. I think MP has installed the Slot Technic chip or the slotted chip, but it has a delay to it when it comes to electric cars. So, he was having issues with delay. So you get an accelerator, and when you let go, it was still accelerating. So there's a little bit of quirks with that setup. But for me, the Carson chip works perfectly with my Scalectric. You can't run Ghost mode. You cannot run the pace car mode with that Carson chip, though. You can only change lanes. The lights only work when you actually run the car. The lights do not stay on when the car is at rest as well. So, yeah. Any other people? I don't know if Marty, have you chipped any Scalectric cars?
Yeah, actually, I have. Get ready to show it because Gene asked this follow-up question. How do you know? I don't know if it'll focus, but if you see that little door on the bottom, Gene, that's how you know if it's DPR ready. It's got the little trap door, and this is chipped to run digital. It's not a top performing car running digital, but it runs digital.
It's so aerodynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful car. What are you talking about, Marty?
It's
So
fun.
You need to run a bus series, 4 buses or 6 buses on the track. You should do it. Come on, be the pioneer that you can be, Marty.
Yeah.
Might as well be legends.
Yeah, there's the Jaeger and there's the Golf one, and you could get a little fleet going.
Yeah, there's the Malibu one. There's another blue and yellow one coming out soon. There's a bunch.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Marty, there's another question from Slot Journal. Can you turn down the voltage when your 8-year-old grandkid is running your cars? I'll take a stab at this. If you're running Carrera Digital, you can turn down the speed on your digital track without a power supply. You can just do it through the digital system. And if I was running digital and I had kids running on the track, I would just power down the track so that, you don't have as many crashes. They don't get frustrated with the cars going off, and you save your cars as well. So Marty, do you use your power supply to turn down the voltage, turn up the voltage?
I use it when I flip the tech slot box over to analog, then I will use the adjustable power supply to bring the power down. But if we're running digital, I use the computer to do that.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's what it's made for.
Yeah. And I do the same thing with the tech slot box. You guys know I just got the Omni box, but that's not installed yet. Waiting on what we're doing with the track downstairs before I install the Omni box. So, but that will be exciting because I have independent power supplies for each lane with the Omni box. So should be fun.
I saw Kevin mentioned a track, the Herald track. That's a very high quality sectional track, I believe, from Europe. And I haven't tried it, but it looks absolutely incredible.
It does.
Yeah. Is it plastic or wood, the Herald track?
I'm not sure, honestly.
Yeah.
It's both.
Definitely like plastic inserts.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I seen something about like a wood track that was like plug and play, just like a Scalectric track, but made out of wood. I didn't notice the brand, but I've seen that there's been talk about that happening all around. So
Oh, there's a company named Slotfire, or was named Slotfire, that made track. I haven't seen any of their track in years, but they had made sectional wood track. That might be what you're thinking of, honestly, but I mean, it
Yeah.
may not be.
Yeah, there's so many different tracks coming out. Actually, I think there's a resurgence in kind of like the track technology, because I know like right now Scale Auto is coming out with their track. Polycar, I don't see. I hope Polycar becomes more mainstream. Ernie runs Polycar at his store,
Yeah.
and one thing I noticed is Polycar is very abrasive. So Scale Auto cars,
Oh
they
yeah.
chew up the tires real quick. Like this, when I took out Scale Auto and I ran it at Ernie's over the past weekend, you could actually visibly see that the tires were chewed up because they
Oh
they
yeah.
get, yeah. So
Yeah.
uh,
It's definitely more like Ninco. It was intentional on their part. They
yeah,
wanted to replace. Ninco isn't. I mean, they're in business still, but not really involved with hobby anymore. Hobby, as we would call it. They're owned by a different company. The people that had owned Ninco sold it to a toy company, so now they're just kind of making. Well, I mean, it's okay, but so the reason Policar um, is kind of went after that market was because there's available market in Italy, there's available market in Spain to replace all that Nenco track, which also, by the way, most of it after a certain period of time starts to warp really badly anyway. There was a track that I visited in Georgia. Oh God, was it Lightning Speedway? I forget. It was like 450 feet long, 4 lane track. It was one of the biggest tracks in the world, and most of it was undrivable without a magnet because it was so wavy. You
right,
couldn't drive without a magnet anymore. It was sad, frankly, because the track was basically useless.
yeah. Yeah, there's so much technology. Like Dana G here says, have you heard of Sillage Racing? They have routed digital tracks from France. Never heard of them before, but Dave probably has. So
Oh yeah, it's really amazing looking stuff. It's
Hmm.
definitely kind of a boutique brand. I don't. It looks like it's more kind of a slot mods kind of a track. I don't believe it's truly sectional. If it is, it's very large sections. But I believe the track that they make are tracks that they make are generally, bespoke tracks for an installation or something like that. They're not like kind of consumery tracks. It's gorgeous stuff. It's properly beautiful track. But yes, I've heard of them.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, there's so many tracks out there. It's amazing. Like when I was growing up, I only used Electric for the longest time. SEX when in 2005 was the new thing, and my distributor had just bought it in. So when we opened, it was really weird how I got into slot cars for my for the shop was the distributor Lion Rampant at that time brought in this track SCX Digital, and me being an old slot car fanatic, I wanted to put a slot car track in a gaming store, and I got a lot of flack from it for it from my partner because like, well, we need a track in here, but I had to have one, so I put in the SCX Digital track, and I used to run. Kids used to come out of school and run races after school, and that's how I got that track going. And then Carrera was the track that I found, and this is so. How do you get to track selection? That's the topic that we have today. I think the first thing is availability, right? Like so many tracks around the world, but if you can't find it and you can't bring it in at a good cost, I mean, imagine shipping a silage track across from France into Canada. I would probably like you'd have to be pretty rich to do that. So I think the first thing is availability, and then that also brings you down to space because a Carrera track is very space intensive compared to a Collector track. Or you could go to the 143rd. So it comes down to scale. So if I had a very tight space, I would go Echo because Echo has really good track. It's I got an AFX track, and it's amazing. The cars are not as detailed, and they are getting much better. Like the new Mega G Pluses, the cars look amazing. But if space is a requirement and you really want a nice, a full track with a lot of movement, I would go AFX. It's a really nice, gorgeous little track. And then you got Carrera Go. Carrera Go is a lot of fun. It has a lot of quirks to it, like loops, and it's not very realistic, but it's still fun. And I think it's a great introduction for kids. That's the first track I bought for my daughter. It was the little F1 track, and that's how, she was 4 years old when we started racing on that track. And it was fun for her, it was just press the button down all the way and let it rip, and have some fun. And that's good because that's how they get into the hobby, and it starts the journey. And then yeah.
The track itself is really high quality track. It's the tabs are a little brittle on the track, so you have to be careful when you take it apart. But the track surface is quite nice, and you could absolutely make a hobby. I mean, I've seen hobbyist scale layouts made out of 143rd. There's a guy named Chuck Heron that I used to be a dealer, and he had a huge Carrera Go track, 2-lane Carrera Go track. It must have been 150 feet around. It was massive, and it was beautiful.
Well, Carrera Go is amazing, and especially like you got the rally version of the track. They got this winter version of the track as well. They get all these it's all like weathering, and you could do that with any track, but it comes straight out of the box. It introduces some new terrain and new effects to the track. So when I put down my Lego City, I remember I was really excited to put down a 1/43rd scale Carrera Go track in the Lego City, because Lego City wasn't huge. It wasn't meant to be a very big Lego City, and Carrera would give me a lot of track and make the city interesting, right? And the Carrera Go especially. So when I bought it, I bought a lot of Carrera Go track. I have a lot of it, and I laid it down, and it was great. But then scale was an issue, because Lego cars, when you look at the Lego itself and the new cars that come out with the modulars, they are larger size, and I kind of did the video on this. So I was forced to go up, and then the reason why I went to Skelectric was because it has intersections, and I wanted intersections in my city, like a regular city, proper 4-way stop intersections, and that's what I wanted. And Lego provides that straight out of the box. Skelectric provides that straight out of the box. And you know what? Looking at it now, it really fits really well in the Lego City, but I lose a lot of track. Like right now, I have a clover leaf that's as big as I can fit with the Skelectric. Before I had a really nice moving Carrera Go track. So you sacrifice that length and style and design of track to get the bigger tracks in, right? But yeah, if I had an 8-foot by 8-foot table, I'd rather do Carrera Go than put in a 1/32nd scale track, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I mean, I love Carrera Go track, and I like I prefer. I mean, the Carrera Go cars, the racing versions, not the entertainment license stuff. Although they can be fun too. The SCX compact cars are really excellent models and run really, really well. We've run them at the club I used to race. We've run them magless with weight and just scuffed tires, and they run fantastic. So, I mean, if space was an issue for me, I'd probably personally do 143rd.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way I look at it as well, 100%. 143rd, and you get a lot of beautiful track with it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then you step into the 132nd, and then here's where you get a lot of choice. If I could get, and this is something that Sunday Slot Car brought up, SCX and Skelectric used to be available in Canada just as much as Carrera, but it's hard to find now. The main tracks that we find are Carrera tracks. If you want to buy a brand new track in a box, you're gonna go get a Carrera track because it's readily available, right?
So I know a fair amount about this because I worked for all three of these companies. Carrera has really good distribution in Canada now. SCX is fulfilled, or SCX has no Canadian distributor anymore. They haven't had one for a long, long time since before I worked there. So, I mean, 10 years, well, no, 14 years now. They haven't really had any decent Canadian distribution. And currently, they have really no distribution outside of Spain, I believe. Scalextric is fulfilled almost entirely. Uh, well, yeah, almost entirely fulfilled from the UK. The country manager in England, who is the manager of Canada, wouldn't give us at Hornby America the Canadian distributorship, the rights to sell directly to Canada. So we had some dealers in the US that would get some things once in a while, I think, but not really. I mean, we weren't supposed to sell into Canada. So almost all of the Canadian sales for Scalextric for Hornby, the British company, are fulfilled out of England, and that can take extra time and extra fees and whatever else. And the distance, it's not ideal. So but Carrera have really robust sales. I spent a lot of time in the 7+ years that I worked for Carrera selling in Canada. I'd spend at least a month and a half a year in Canada going around in Ontario and Quebec, both the provinces, the main provinces where sales would be. And we had great sales, quite frankly, in Canada.
Yeah. So the question here is: does Carrera Go do lane changing? It does not. It's a simple analog track, 1/43rd scale. I don't know what Carrera Go Plus will do. There's a new Carrera Go Plus system that's coming out. I'm not too sure. They used to have Carrera Digital Go, because I actually have some of the Carrera Digital Go cars, and they run perfectly well on my 132nd Carrera track. They're really fun to drive. They're really quick, but and it was also the cheaper way to get a chip. If you're looking for Carrera chips, it was cheaper to buy the Carrera Go digital car and take the chip out of it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, um, yeah. Okay. So we talked about Carrera and we talked about Scalextric, but Polycar. Marty, have you ever thought about running a different brand track? And if you were, what would you get and why?
I want to build a 4-lane analog track, and I've looked at Polycar because I think that they have a lot of choices when it comes to turns, and can probably put a 4-lane track in a decent size space. It wouldn't have to be gigantic.
Okay. And what holds you back?
I'm just waiting for it to hit the U.S. market.
Oh, yeah. Warren, you said you ordered a full lane Polycar,
Yes.
and when is it arriving?
Next week, I believe.
And where you get it from?
So excited. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
Secret.
But
He smuggled it across.
well, there is. Originally, I was going to get it from a dealer in the States, and he's out on the West Coast because I don't know if I'm allowed to mention names. But they've got them in stock over there. They've got the T3 and the T4. The difference is just the length between the two, but they're both 4-lane tracks.
Yeah.
One's bigger than the other, and it's a nice track because I had already had a Polycar, and I've probably got 36 feet of it, and I've just been running it 2-lane. I really liked it, and the people that raced on it liked it. So I figured if I'm making the space, I need a 4-lane track.
Yeah.
And I actually I bought all of Ernie's leftovers
Oh, the
from his track.
polycar. Oh, nice.
Yes, yeah, the box is actually sitting over there. I just got it in the mail the other day. Love getting
Nice.
stuff in the mail. You're like, oh, all the corner pieces and yeah,
We all do.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So I've
Peter here
got
is transitioning to the Scale Auto Pro Track, which is something that I'm very interested in. The Scale Auto. I'm a big Scale Auto nut right now, so everything Scale Auto to me comes up 5 stars. So I may have a bias when it comes to this, but I'm really interested to see the Scale Auto Pro Track system. I like the look of it. I like the color of it. That's another thing. Scale Auto did a unique color to that track, which is cool. So yeah, very interested in that. Talking about four cars racing, the AFX Mega G World Track, the one where you can build all the F1s. That's the whole reason I got into HO, because I was like, I want a 4-track system, and I don't want too much space, and I want to mount it like art on my wall. So I bought that HO system, and it's awesome. So yeah. Let's see. Oh,
I
Sunday
just
Slug.
sorry to interrupt. I just got a couple scale autos uh,
Ernie.
from Ernie. Yes,
Yeah. Which ones?
yeah. I got the Viper and the Porsche 911 RSR. I got two Vipers. I got the Gas Monkey and then the red
Yeah.
and Porsche RSR and then this I got the yellow and the red. I got the sister car too. So I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
The
That's the
the
911.
RSR.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just got the slot link ship too.
Yeah. So
But
interesting thing about tuning the scale autos, when you remove the mag, first of all, you have to remove the whole rear assembly to remove the magnet from the scale auto cars. I did it last weekend at Ernie's. I took the Viper and I wanted to remove the mag, and it's a pain in the neck to remove the magnet because you have to disassemble the whole rear system. And then what we found out was on my particular Viper, the grub screw was stripped, so I
oh,
had a hard time removing it. And then when we put the regular grub screw back in, like a grub screw, it's too big, so we have to shift the way we put the rear assembly back onto the car. And then I also noticed on the polycar track when we're taking out the magnet, when you drive it, it would actually flap. The front would lift and run rough, and that's because the guide has a spring in it. So undo the guide, take out the spring, cut the guide stem, and then put it back together.
there you go.
Yeah, and the car runs like a beauty now on with non-mag. So yeah, it's a little bit of work to get the scale autos to run non-mag, but once you get them, they're really really nice. It's like my favorite car to run on non-mag system is Ernie's cars, obviously because I run at Ernie's track. But right now, my favorite is the Scale Auto Viper non-mag. Right now, it's beautiful to run. So yeah, just a little heads up there. So somebody had a question for me here. He asked, "What scale to run for Lego modulars?" So I did the whole video on this. The reason Carrera Go did not work, one was obviously the scale. In Carrera Go, the track on a Carrera Go car is too narrow, too small, or too tight. So the 132nd Scalextrics Lego build cars are perfect for what we want for Lego modulars. And if you use a Scalextric track, you can run two cars side by side without them bumping each other when you build them out of Lego. So that's just the answer to that question. Let's see, any more questions here? So,
I have a question for George.
Yep.
George is a Carrera guy and has now decided to go wood routed.
That'd be incorrect, Marty, because I still have a Carrera track downstairs.
Well, yeah, I know, but like you when you went for a second track, you landed on wood. So like, what caused you to make that decision?
Going to Home Racing World. That did it right there. When I ran my cars on that track, because running them on a plastic track, they run fine. And downstairs they do fine. That's how I build them, because I use that track. So one of the questions I had in my mind, the cars that I did send to Harry for the proxy, they ran good and stuff, but I didn't really get to actually run the car on a wood track myself. So I brought quite a few of them when I went to see him at the Labor Day shootout last year. And when I ran my cars, I was really blown away how nice they ran on a wood track. So, the brass built chassis stuff. So that really was kind of like I said, and I've been over this. So that was the catalyst from going to build this track right here. Was that?
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to do that.
Are you gonna put scenery on your track, George?
No.
Well, no.
So it is a test track.
Well, I mean, I want to put some things in the middle, but be able to remove them, just like what Harry does. I can do that.
Yeah.
So if I ever want to do something, later on, it's what he does. I could do that. So, and then maybe on the outside, I'll have some things. I have the Flash Fantastic. I got the last two that is the guy's named Scott Vargo that sold them on eBay. He had 6 left, and he posted on Facebook, and I jumped on the last 2 he had. And so I may put some flash photography people around the track. So there'll be a little bit, but not like overkill. Not like, I wouldn't say Area 51 was overkill, but it used to have a lot more before. But it's back down a little. But this will be a little bit more subtle. I have fences and stuff, so if the cars fly off, don't hit the front windows here, of the house. So I mean, there'll be a little bit of added dirt tracks, scenery to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Nice.
It looks great. You're doing an awesome job, and I've really enjoyed the videos of the whole production.
Thank you. I'm going to redo a video on the electrical part of it because I talked to Steve Sawtell and I told him because he has an old article from 2005. It's like, it's pretty old. So I told him I'll redo a video and redo pictures because the way he explained everything, the way everything's laid out here, it's really simplified. It's not difficult because he walked me through it for like 30 minutes and kind of explained things. And they provide templates for everything that you need to connect the wires. He explained where it goes, what stations go to what, where it goes where, and it's not that difficult. So I want to redo a video on that and kind of really concentrate on that because I think that'll be one of the intimidating parts of the whole build. The routing was not as bad, even though I screwed up on 3 pieces of MDF, but that goes back to I should have tested the router first before I continued. So that's my fault. But it's something I want to mention in the video that I made a mistake on. But routing it, doing the radiuses are super easy if you're doing an oval because I have a jig that I did it on and they came out great. Doing the straights a little bit tougher. And one thing that Gene didn't mention was the rotation of the router, how it goes. I had it on the back side of the track. I was kind of fighting the router because the router, I believe, rotates clockwise and I was going against it, counterclockwise and moving it, and that causes the router to lift. So you want to make sure that you're going in the same direction. So there's little things like that I've learned from building it. Building the table's not hard. You just gotta cut your wood, get it cut, whatnot, and put it together. Race choices like in the first video, and then buying the MDF and having Home Depot cut them because I didn't want to really cut that, so they cut it for me. And then putting it on the table. And the easy part about making because people have been asking, even you did, about pinning it. All it is scrap wood in the back. And all you do is just put shims and you can just bow it to what you want to because half-inch MDF will bow a lot. And that was one thing that Harry told me, don't worry about it. It'll bow more than you think because Harry's more stupid than mine. So it's not that hard. Anybody could build this. Anybody could build an oval. If you build a road course, a little bit more involved, but I think anybody can do it too. It's not that hard.
Okay. Yeah, it looks great, George. And what paint did you use for it?
It's just a satin.
Yeah.
It's from Home Depot. It's actually from Lowe's. It's Sherwin-Williams paint. Interior paint. It's satin interior paint. It's some color called Tin Man Gray. It's a little bit of a light gray. But when you run these cars, it's going to wear it in, and you're going to see the track marks, of tires once you start running it. So it's going to change color.
Yeah, I have a 3-line wood track that my uncle built for me, and it's got flat latex surface, and I mean it's it's just a fantastic surface. I had brass tape, not the woven uh, stuff that or George has, and but I also have Steve Sautel's Slot Car Corner track wiring system for my Polycar track, and I did a video wiring it up, and it couldn't have been easier. My uncle basically did it for me, but it was once you get everything laid out, it is so simple. You do not need to know anything about how to wire to use the system. It is just about idiot proof, frankly, and
One thing he did, one
does
thing he
great
did
stuff.
was that I'm sure he told you is that see I have it light out on the table. That's what you're supposed to do. You lie it out on the table, and then you get your wire. So this way, when you're underneath it, you're not having a hard time trying to plan it out. Because when it's up on the table, you have it planned out, and you can get your wire lengths cut, and then that's when you go under the table and start putting everything together. And he told me one thing that's important, which I'll mention in the video. Do one lane at a time, he says.
Yep.
Because if
Yep.
you wire it all out, when something doesn't work, you got to go back, and it's like a wiry mess, and you're like, you don't know what the problem is. So he said to me, make sure you test one, put one together and test it, make sure it works, and then go on to the next one. So it's just trying to do it at a pace to where you make sure you're doing it correctly. But it's again like Dave said, it's very simplified. I just don't want to feel that people are going to get build a wood track and they get intimidated by this because this isn't intimidating at all. It's very simple.
And the system that he makes, the wire that he gives you, all the blocks, I got driver stations from him as well. It is bulletproof. I mean, this stuff is heavier gauge wire than you would ever need, even for very high power. It is perfect stuff. Buy it if you want to wire up a plastic track or a wood track. Just buy it.
It's worth the
David,
money and all the tools that he sells. So the gain part was really easy to do. All you do is just follow the slot. That was the easiest part, the gain. But I still test it because you still have to go with the depth. I think the depth I went is 0.70 millimeters. And then I test my piece, and I got a piece of braid, and I laid it to see if it's flush with the surface. And then once you get that set, and then I tested it on another piece again because of what the nightmare I went through. And then I just followed all along the whole track. It was really easy, and that's it. And then laying the braid, the type of braid this is, it's 3M tape on the back. It's really robust. It's sticky. On Harry's old track, he was telling me, he showed me a picture of it. When he pulled that braid off, it actually took chunks of the MDF off because it's that strong. And when you lie it on there, you don't want to stretch it. You just place it on because a lot of people have the tendency to kind of pull it, and you don't want to do that because you elongate the braid. You want the braid to see nice, where it should be, and then you just roll it with the roller that they provide here, which is this roller right here. So, but again, it's been like this is the 4th week, so I mean it's been going pretty quick. Without my mistake of the MDF, I think I would probably have it wired up already. So,
Yeah, pretty amazing. Boone says put a lonely tree on that at least. So
yeah, I could put one up in the corner. I'll do that for you, Boone. I promise. One tree.
So I have a couple
Unbelievable.
questions for you, George. The first one is when when you bow the track, does it pinch the slot?
If it does, you check that, and what you do is you get sandpaper and you clean it with sandpaper. But you do want to test that. Mine didn't bow enough to pinch it because what I did was I went around with the commercial track guide, and then I went around with a brass chassis and took the gear out of it like this, and just kind of really just ran the car around. I tried to hook up a 9-volt battery. That wasn't successful because it just fly right off. But I just kind of rolled the car around without the gear, so it's freewheels, and just see how the car, reacts. And if there is a pinch spot, which if you do bow a lot, I didn't bow as much, I don't think, as Harry did. I bowed a little bit less than he did. Then it will close the slot, but you get some sandpaper and you clean it up, and that'll clean that up real easy.
Okay. Another question that you have here is on soldering. So, George, I'm having trouble with times soldering. The solder I already had was 50-50. I have a gun turned all the way up, wide tip, cleaned with sandpaper, having trouble getting the solder to stick to the tip.
Is he using flux?
That was the question that Gene asked right away. So if he uses flux, it would be much easier. I don't know the answer to that, George, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the solder I use is 60-40 rosin. I wouldn't use silver. Silver takes a lot more to heat up. I've tried it and I've done it. But if you're using the 60-40 rosin solder and then you're using the Stay Clean flux, that's what's going to allow the solder to flow. If you don't put any flux, it's just going to glob up, because when you hit heat, you're heating the brass, and then the flux is allowing the solder also to flow onto the brass. And you got to make sure that the brass is clean. Clean brass is happy brass, as that's been stated a lot. Because if you try and solder dirty brass, it's not going to do any good. It's just going to make you frustrated.
Cool. Thanks for answering that. And then we have another question from Paul Shop here. I have Carrera Go cars, Electric cars, changed a layout to Electric track from Carrera Go, but it seems that the pins are too wide for the slot. SCX works fine. Is there a guide that can work with the Carrera? Does anyone make a Carrera Go guide replacement?
I think someone does.
I mean, the best place to go, I think Slot Invasion is where I get all my guides from. I don't know if they have any.
Any 143rd, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
They do.
I do have a lot of Slot Invasion guides, but I'm not too sure on that, Paul. You'd have to do a little bit more research. I'll look into it as well. George is showing off the flux that he's using.
Well, it's the solder he asked about.
Sorry, the solder, yeah.
Solder.
I can put a link on there. I'll find a link from Amazon.
So yeah, I'm not too sure, Paul. We'll look into it, and if we do find any solutions, I'll either message you or put a comment up to answer that. The other question that we have here is from Robert Hill. Does Tommy AFX interchange with Auto World HO track? I don't know, but anyone else have any ideas? I'm very new to the HO worlds, honestly, and the only reason I picked up the AFX was the F1 tracks that it can build. So, but yeah, anybody have any answers for that?
Not sure.
I don't. Sorry, not an HO guy. I just looked on the Slot Invasion website. There are no 143rd scale guides that I can find.
Okay. Yeah, so Paul will look into the guides for you. I'll check as well. But yeah, right now we don't have that answer. Robert,
could he sand down the guide? Could he sand that down to make it fit?
Well, the Carrera Go's have pins. They don't really have
it's
guide. It's a pin system.
Gotcha.
It's a pin, and the two little smaller pins that actually stick into the chassis are very brittle, and I don't think you want to get involved in sanding a Carrera Go pin. Please don't do that. It's not going to be a lot of fun.
Okay.
Okay.
So Asher actually answered the HO question. Tony, AFX, Auto World is all the same. So it seems that they're all the same. So you should be able to put it together. Thank you, Asher.
Cool. Dave, is your wood track an oval or is it a road course?
It's a kind of kidney bean shaped. It's, yeah, I'll find a picture of it unburied with stuff and post it at some point. It was built at the time for what could best be described as a closet that I had in an apartment that was about 11 feet by about 8 feet wide. And so my uncle built the track to fit exactly in the space that I had. So nice. I didn't have a lot of space. It's a 3-lane track with squeezes at each end. And I'll post a picture of it on my YouTube channel
that's cool.
At some point. I promise I will be cleaning it off. I promise it will be in videos soon enough.
Nice.
I just need to clean out the garage on the other side of it, and I'll be shooting back across both tracks then. So, yes.
Oh, very cool.
Yep.
All right. Boone says, no. Okay. So,
sorry, real quick announcement. No, I'm not asleep. I'm just going to think if I'm sleeping. I get a message from Dave on my phone. Hey, wake up.
The
That's
new
funny.
wood track is George's
Can't see your eyes because
bedroom.
of that.
Yeah.
George has been sleeping in the wood track room. Just be honest, George. I mean, the speed you're building that
24/7.
thing, you're sleeping there.
Remember, I have 4 days off.
That's right. You got to take advantage of it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I posted a link
Yeah, there's
on the
lots
side.
of. Yeah, I was gonna say there's lots of great soldering videos out there. So
There is a ton of them.
Yeah, so Paul, Bernie answers, says he clipped about a 1 millimeter off the end of the Cura guide to let it run on the R10 track. So maybe he used the nail clipper to do that. Maybe that will help. I don't know.
thanks, Bertie.
All right. Is there any other questions you have about the different brands, or anybody has any more to add? You know, like for me, space, width of track. I guess the next thing is what we look at when we buy track is features, right? Certain track has lots of features. Curve has really cool hairpins, squeeze lanes. I don't know how much. I don't know how much in the hobbyist world, but I know beginner tracks have a lot of like. We use a lot of features. You know, I remember when I first got my Carrera track, I put every feature I could find. I put the hairpin, I put the squeeze lanes, I put the crossovers, and then over time you find that you build simpler and simpler tracks because you're like, I only need to change lanes if I need to change lanes. So yeah, initially when you first buy a track, you buy everything. You're like, I need everything. I need the jumps, I need the intersections, I need everything. And then you're like, I don't need the jumps, and I don't need it. You know,
You get tired of marshalling, is what it is.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think that's one of the things that you will find as a beginner. Don't get too excited. Don't buy too much because better to start with less and increase when you need it. Enjoy the cars and the movement and really get a feel for what you like. Some people like Marty really likes S turns and flowing tracks. But I was racing 124 at like I said over the weekend. I was racing 124 at Dave's a track, and it's all R1s. It's a huge track. It's 27 feet, but everything's R1 turns, and we're running 124 on R1s. And the thing that he has is a bank corner that comes out, and he also has like 3 levels of elevation, but everything's R1. It was amazing to me. Even when I went to see MP's track, and I know he's changing it up now, but everything that MP has on his track is R1s as well. A very little variation there. So, and the main reason for that is because when you first buy all the sets, it only comes with R1s. So we get, we hardly get to see the other sizes of curves. So as a beginner, I say, see what you really like. If you like a lot of speed and you're not afraid of going on the binders and taking those sharp corners, stick with the R1s. It's a lot of fun. It's great for rally tracks as well. But if you want to build long, flowy tracks like Marty's track, your track looks so fast. You're doing 8 seconds on 23 feet now? Total, like the length of the table?
24 feet long, 8 foot wide table. I'm at about right at 100 feet, just shy of 100 feet lane length.
Yeah.
And I was longer. I was at about 115 feet. But it's such a fun layout. I'm loving it.
And you're doing 8 seconds non-mag, right?
Let's see. The no magnet track record right now is 8-1.
Yeah.
Which car?
Yeah, it's moving. I'm learning the tune. I'm getting better.
Yeah. So which car has your track record right now?
Right now it's my Thunderslot Elva.
Yeah.
With the NSR 908 just at its heels. Those are very, very close. And then third, I think, is what is third? I think Slotted, my GT40 is really quick. And then a couple sideways cars are right there at like 8.4.
Yeah.
The Revo slots come in around 8.7, 8.8.
Have you run an NSR Formula One?
I have not. I'm sure that would be the new track record order.
Yeah, that thing just breaks records like everywhere.
Yeah.
I got the Scale Auto one. I haven't run it yet. Well, I don't have a track anymore. Or my track is in disarray right now. But soon I'll have a new track again. That being said, I'm laying down the new RC track this Friday, so that's exciting. We're gonna start getting the RC guys into digital racing on Friday. Let's see what happens. But so far, it's been crazy. We have like 400 members at the RC track, and we posted pictures. And yeah, it's been huge. Like there's been this huge influx of like curiosity. People want cars right away. It's amazing. You show a person a Carrera car in a box, it's so easy to sell. You don't even have to sell it. They just pick it up and they don't want to let it go. So it's super simple. It's amazing. Yeah, because you know, when you come from the RC world, you guys understand RC is very expensive. You know, a simple hop up on an RC is the price of a Carrera car sometimes. So for them to pick up a Carrera car is very easy. And because the fit and finish on a Carrera car is so close to, like, the Mini Zs right now are trying to get to that level. And a lot of the guys are Mini Z racers. So the car is very similar, you know, but it's way more detailed than a Mini Z car, right? So it's so easy for them to pick up the cars and just want them. So I'm excited to launch that on Friday. And Sunday Salt Cars came through for me. Thank you once again. Huge help. He actually designed my track layout for the RC track because I'm working on the big one for my basement. So I just turned to him and said, get me a track layout and just ship me everything that fits that layout because I didn't have time to go through my inventory to do it. So I bought a whole new track for the RC place.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're going to do that on Friday. Yeah, so Bernie says the same thing. My kids like all the loops and the bridges at first, too, until they had stopped chasing the car around. I went upstairs, and when I came back down, they converted all to a big oval.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's a good one.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I just like that they were brave enough to take it on. Let's tear it apart and reconfigure.
Yeah.
They did it oval. That's what cracks me up.
Yeah.
Simple, you know.
Yeah. You know, my first track, I remember. So when I grew up in Kenya, obviously I had a big 20-meter track, right? But my first track that was given to me that I actually owned was a mini metro, a Scalextric mini metro track, a mini oval, bank corners. It's a very short track. You could probably fit it on a 4-foot table, and I enjoyed that throughout immensely. It was just so much fun, and you just count how many laps you could keep that car on there at full throttle before it flew off the track. That was all it was, you know. So it was a lot of fun.
Speaking of minis, I saw BRM. It's got a little mini, and it just looked fantastic.
Yeah, 124, right? BRM is 124.
Yes, yeah, it's a 124, and apparently there's also a front wheel drive version. But I don't know if it's BRM.
I mean, you could. I don't know that you could. I don't know. I don't know that you could make a front wheel drive one. I don't know where the front axle is in relation to the guide.
No, I just saw it somewhere in a post, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. That would be different. So someone's making it. It's somewhere in Europe. Was on one of my groups because I'm on a bunch of groups here, trying to keep up with everything.
Yeah, Fly had a front-wheel drive car too. I know I have a Fly Porsche that's front-wheel drive. It's old. I think I bought it in 2008. It drives like crap, but they did make one. It was really weird. They oriented the motor to the front, direct drive to the front wheels, and then it was loose in the back. I never understood. I do have a Fly Porsche somewhere with that configuration. I know I know I have a lot of 4-wheel drive cars, and that's like SCX did have a lot of 4-wheel drive cars. I have auto-odd 4-wheel drives as well. So yeah, I think I have a Porsche. I will try and find it maybe next time. It's a front-wheel drive system. I'm pretty sure it is. It drives really badly. So yeah.
What a
What
surprise!
was
David-
this? What car was it? A like 959
No,
or
it's
like a
old school
GT1?
911, like a
Oh,
older school 911.
yeah.
I'll have to find it. I'm pretty sure I have it downstairs somewhere to dig it out of the box.
Dave, any chance you're getting one of the 120, the new BRM 124s to review?
Not unless I buy one, and I won't
okay.
be buying any.
Yeah, I get you.
I'm not friendly with the distributor, and
Gotcha.
none of
I
the
always ask all
dealers.
the wrong questions. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Nice tool.
None of the dealers that LEB doesn't sell BRM, and
Gotcha.
Yeah.
so and I can't put money into buying expensive cars like that. So
Nope.
So MP says I have a 124 Fiat Abarth from TTS front wheel drive, and
I have
MP, I have my question. You have a front wheel drive too?
No, it's not, but this is a TTS car. This is a Abarth, or whatever the heck you call it. But it's one. This one I got is a rear wheel drive. I haven't seen the front wheel one yet. But
Oh,
they're beautiful cars. They're beautiful
They are.
cars. I do have a couple BRMs, but they're not anything current. The championship that I have is BRM championship.
I only got one
That looks
BRM
really
car.
beautiful. Yeah, that
Because-
looks beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool, George.
well, that's
Yeah.
nice.
I bought this on a deal, so that's why I got it.
So it looks like a 124 scale Revo slot
It is,
from a
yeah.
chassis standpoint.
Yeah,
Man, that's got to be a nice car.
Yeah, so MP says he has the front wheel drive. It's not fast, but a blast to drive. So,
cool.
but MP is really good at driving any car. So stop showing off, man.
What's the TTS? Is that a
a
sub
brand.
brand?
Yeah,
Okay.
TTS. I thought it was the same as BRM, but it isn't. I looked it up. It's two different companies, right, Dave?
I don't know exactly. Quite frankly, is
Gotcha.
it a? Do they use the BRM bodies? I don't remember seeing.
They
any.
seem similar, but I don't know. I heard there were two different companies. I went and looked it up. I know Revo and BRM were the same, but it's
Yeah. Yeah,
Well-
I don't know. The place I would look is Crick Crack. They're pretty much the biggest dealer in the world, and they're the Bassus family. They own DS, and I believe Scale Auto, and they're in Barcelona. And pretty much find everything there.
You go,
Yeah,
Raul.
they-
You go in Barcelona, you can find out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
there's a lot there.
yeah, I'm going back to Barcelona next year, not this year. But yeah, for
Nice.
sure. When I went to Barcelona last year, unfortunately, I went during the summer break, and everybody was closed down. And
Yeah,
I got actually they were open at the tail end, but I never got a chance to go to Crick Crack. I got to go to the other slot car shops. But yeah, I'll be going back next year, and yeah, for sure, I'll definitely visit Crick Crack.
yeah. Barcelona's great. I've been there a few times for work when I was with STX. I loved it there.
Yeah, George, I think Gene is jumping to scratch building. Yay, your seeds have been planted.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Well, there's tons of videos out there besides mine. The one I learned from was Harry's, the stinker chassis. That's a real simple build. I would recommend doing that one first for 132nd. Because those cars, that chassis is a good chassis to throw a motor on and make it run good. Foolproof.
Yeah. Nice. So, anybody get any new cars? I know Marty, you got some. Come on, Marty.
No, actually, I mean, I think I talked about them last week.
Gotta live vicariously through Marty these days.
Oh,
Just a green at it again.
whatever. You and Massimo went and cleaned Ernie out. What are you talking about?
No,
No.
no.
Oh,
No,
I
no,
thought-
no new cars.
Probably
this week,
between
man.
the three of us, I know I did. I picked up a bunch from him too.
You sure, Marty? She hasn't come down and said that. Hey, where'd that come from?
Where'd all this come from?
I know you
I
bought
didn't-
another 962, Marty. It hasn't arrived
well,
yet. But you've been
I've been
buying
buying,
cars.
man.
I've been buying NASCARs because I want to make brass chassis for them. So I got quite a few of them. Some old ones I found on eBay. So I've been trying to like gather those up.
That's funny. Yeah, I want the fat turbo livery on the 962.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a
Ooh,
great looking car.
that's nice.
That's a great looking car.
Yeah.
That one's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for all you guys. Anybody driven a Womp car?
Yeah, I have.
I
Yeah.
have not.
They're fun.
So, how hard is that car to control? Like those things are crazy fast. Easy?
Not really. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Matter of fact,
Yeah.
the guy that helped me get the wood, Frank in New York, his name's Frank Wampenstein. Believe it or not, Wampenstein. He drives those and he builds them. So he races them at a track here called Archdale, which Archdale is not far from here. And when we get this track running, I'm gonna have him bring those because I told him he could come and tune anytime he wants because he helped me out a lot. Because he has a pickup truck. I don't have a pickup truck. Anybody who has a pickup truck, you always get the question, "Hey, can you come over?" And there you go. I need you to load something up for me. And he did it twice, so he was really cool about it. The second time I needed him to come and get something, he actually came the same day, so he's welcome to the track anytime. But we'll video some womps.
Awesome.
He does a lot of womp racing, so they're not
Okay.
that hard. Well, they're fun. They're a blast.
Yeah.
That's why they're just fun to just spin around. Just like it's like getting a little Revo car, the small Revo cars.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Okay. I've always seen them. They're super fast, but I've never understood like you can't have that reflex. Like so, I can't comprehend that reflex. So yeah, so that's why I'm very curious.
So, I mean, it depends on which kind of motor you have in a Womp car. The motors, generally speaking, are not that powerful in Womps. A lot of
16
times they're rental cars. Yeah, they're rental cars for kids.
Okay.
So, like at a commercial track, they won't be terribly fast. They're more meant to be kind of brute force kinds of cars, not all out speed kinds of cars.
Yeah.
They're lots of fun. You race them together; they're a blast.
Okay.
So it's contact racing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I see the question about the Shadow there.
Yeah.
The Shadow is going to be arriving in North America very, very soon, and shipping out to dealers within the next week, I believe. I got promised a Shadow last night, so
Awesome.
I will be being sent. I am being sent a Shadow.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well,
That's
we're
awesome.
lucky because we're at Ernie's, so we get to
Yeah, you got it
we
right
get
there.
the shadows. we
I saw
all
your
have
videos.
shadows,
No big deal for you guys.
so
Yeah,
we're
well,
lucky.
Down here in the States, it's not so easy.
Yeah.
Not a lot of dealers are getting them down here. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I've res-
it's nice. It's nice to have a Canadian manufacturer for a car that we don't have to struggle to go get. But it's been an expensive.
yeah,
It's an expensive month right now because the Ferrari Momos, those F40 Momos from Revo Slot are so gorgeous and they have to be
They
in
are
my
beautiful.
collection. So that's already costing me some money. I dropped like stupid amounts on this BRM 124. I don't even collect 124. This is all Massimo's fault. Getting me into digital 120,
Sure.
all digital 124 racing.
Okay.
But yeah, it's gonna be an expensive month. Then for the Shadows, and then Carrero's releasing their cars. So yeah, it's gonna be nuts. But yeah, George, you're building a car right now, right? You're building that the NASCAR, the Carrero
Yeah.
one, the chassis.
Yeah, it's on the bench there. Harry, well, we did it for Mark Thomas's property, which is the NASCAR one he had. And I built a Charlie Glotzback 99 Superbird. It's a purple and white.
Yeah.
And he had all those other guys. That one guy, BK, built a gorgeous chassis. Oh, my God. That guy his chassis was, man, it was something. If you guys haven't seen it, that's like, wow. Really nice artwork and handled great. And then there's other guys that did a really good job with doing that. And basically what it was is you got a stock Carrera body, or if you wanted to paint it one that was of that era with the what they were. You can't make a custom one, and you just build a brass chassis for it. And that's why Harry started doing another one. I'm going to be doing this one that's on the bench, and then eventually I'm just going to replace all those chassis with the brass ones.
Yeah. MP, I'm gonna make a shirt that says that. I already have the design. I have one made. Sorry, not sorry is actually a shirt I made. So I'm gonna make one for you, and you have to wear it every time you see me.
I'll wear it.
Yeah. Well, I just got my new printer today. Amazing. They said to me, "Oh, it's just a box." They didn't tell me it was a crate. So when they dropped it off, I was like, I'm expecting a box, and they're like, no, this is your crate. I was like, I expect a box. I don't have a loading dock. So yeah, it was an interesting offload of a big printer today. But yeah,
You don't have a loading dock.
no, it's just a simple like I
Come
built.
on, man. Where's your school spirit?
I don't have a loading dock. I told the guy was, no, he's like, the printer is actually, I replaced the printer. So the printer size was, the footprint is actually smaller than the printer I replaced. So I was like, yeah, no problem, that will fit. So guys, and I asked him, like, do I need any special thing for this shipping? He's like, no, it just comes in a box, right? And then he dropped a skid, like a literal huge skid in front of. I was like, what do you mean this is
special?
and then when I called the sales guy, and the delivery driver was just laughing. He's like, this always happens. Always happens. The sales guys, they tell you whatever they need to tell you to get the sale.
Exactly what it is right there, the sales guy.
So,
oh, yeah, don't worry. It'll be easy.
so I call the guy, and I'm like, there's a skid. He's like, yeah, it's a box. I'm like, no, it's a skid.
It's a box. Yeah, the box is made out of wood. It's 12 by 10. It's a box.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah, amazing. Yeah,
Well,
so
people
that was.
would have thought it was your last slot car order. They were all Mitch dropped the skid here of slot cars.
Probably. I mean, Sunday shipped me 3 crates, so there you go.
I did a bathroom remodel back at the end of last year, and I ordered a vanity for the bathroom. And my wife and I went to Colorado for my daughter's graduation, and somebody called me and said, there is a giant skid with this giant box in your front yard. They just dropped it off in my front yard while I was not even home. And
Oh,
so
no.
I came, like,
Oh, man.
raining and
Wow.
snowing and all this crazy weather, and there it was when I got home 3 days later in my front yard.
Yeah.
So
No,
I don't have a loading dock either. He just dropped it in the front yard.
It's happened to me before where they'll drop they dropped a skid in my front yard, and literally I have stairs going up into the first, so I had to like unstrap it, take it apart, like disassemble it, move it all in pieces, and assemble it back in. But yeah, they've done it so many times. But that's why I was so specific. I kept on saying, this is a box, right? And he gave me the dimensions and everything. I was like, yeah, that will fit, no problem. But nope. And it was multiple boxes on that skid probably made the dimensions that he came up with. But I was like, wow. That was my morning today. But now at least I can produce good shirts. So I'm happy.
Awesome.
Anyway, is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Yeah, who's got new cars? So you didn't get any new cars, Marty. What about you, Warren? Did you get new cars?
Well, the ones I've showed you, I seem, like I say, I seem to be getting new cars on a regular basis here.
Yeah.
I was on I found a Facebook auction, and I bought 2 cars off of that. I was kind of happy because it was one of them, this one, the Scale Electrics. Where's the camera? There you go.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's a nice
Skyline.
livery.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a beautiful
very cool.
car.
So I was really happy to get that. Found it on a Facebook auction, and basically Mr. Slot, it's my Scale Autos that I just got, and then I'm as I'm going through my boxes of what I'm going to keep and what I'm going to part with and what's going to become inventory. I'm finding all kinds of neat little treasures. So like these guys. So
Oh, nice.
the old Slaudits, yeah. And I found it. This one I found the Jules Villeneuve.
Oh, beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if I want. I don't think I want to part with that because being Canadian and all.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. That's a
Hang on to that
keeper.
one.
Yeah, and so that's basically it. Found this guy too. I was blown away because I've always, like I said, I love 917s and the 91710.
Yeah, you're a
So
Porsche guy too, right?
absolutely.
How many Porsche guys do we have in the chat right now? Come on. Gotta be a lot. Yeah. See?
A bunch of them.
Massimo,
Buddy.
take note. Massimo, count how many Porsche guys are here.
You got the Ferrari.
Shavy's outnumbered.
Yeah, I like them all though, man. I think I'm a Ferrari guy
Yeah.
too. Like, Dave showed off his F40, the gray Mumu livery.
Oh,
It's
man.
fantastic. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, that car's sharp.
Yeah, the Momo livery, the F40. My favorite car
Yeah.
of all time is an F40, by the way. Even though I'm a Porsche guy throughout,
Yeah.
if I got my hands on an F40, that's like the ultimate driver's car in my opinion. The F40 till today.
Yeah,
my
I just
favorite.
love the car. I mean, it's
Yeah.
absolutely classic. And I'm not the world's biggest Ferrari fan, like I said during my stream. I just
Yeah.
absolutely love the F40.
Yeah, same.
That Momo car is stunning.
Yeah, both
yeah.
liveries.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I got the gunmetal one, and
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sharp.
And if
Yeah, so
MP, sorry, you guys are breaking up. I can't hear you.
sorry you guys are breaking up. I can't see or hear the screen. All I heard was Ferrari.
Ferrari,
That's
right?
That's funny. Yeah, really.
That's this was for April 1st anyway. I made this. This was it's one of one. It's the ghost car. Can you guys see it?
You mean
What
it's
chip
the
does it have in it?
just call it Frodo, okay? Frodo.
I try to get a picture of it, but
Nice.
It's really fast.
yeah, it's super fast.
Yeah,
This has been great, guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Fun time.
Well, yeah. So thanks again for joining, everyone. It was awesome. Dave, can't thank you enough for joining as well. Warren, thank you for sharing. Awesome to have you in the hobby.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, probably do a meetup. We're all talking about a meetup, so we gotta start putting this together. I think this summer was a good time for us to pick a spot where we can all get together. It won't be good for some people, it won't be good for other people, but we'll figure it out. But I think we need to do that, so we'll work on it. Marty, myself, MP. Yeah, I'm planning to come down to the States soon as well. I want to see you guys in person. Never met any of you in person, so it'll be exciting. So we'll figure that out as well.
I mean, the good thing is, Marty's, you're just in Ohio, right?
Yeah, I'm in Ohio.
Yeah, that's not that far away from, I've driven through Ohio a lot. I've driven to Toronto a lot. There's not really that much between them, really. It's less than a
Yeah,
day's
we should be
drive.
able to. Yeah, we should be able to find someplace close.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I was thinking Niagara Falls, maybe. I don't know, but I'm down to
Which
go
side?
anywhere.
Niagara.
It doesn't matter. U.S. side is fine.
No. Canadian side. Not the
Canadian
US
side? Okay.
No, because if it's the U.S. side, I got to bring my gun because it's a very dangerous place to be.
Oh jeez.
I know
sort of
Sean.
kidding.
Sean Casey is based out of Niagara, so ideally we want to meet where there's a track as well. It would be a shame for us Lockeye guys to get together and there's no track.
We would not get to have some fun racing.
Yeah, I could bring a whole track with me, but we'll figure it out.
We'll figure that out.
But definitely gonna do that. Other than that, and if you guys got any ideas for topics that you want us to talk about, please, throw them in the comments. Reach out to us. Let us know. We scramble every day or every Monday morning with what topic we're going to talk about today. But we kind of started to put that kind of topic bank together. So if you guys got something that you really want to talk about, let us know.
Better say have everybody make sure they come up with the topic, because I remember my science teacher would tell me, if you guys don't come up with something, I'm going to make you write an essay on why a tennis ball has fuzz.
Yeah.
Great.
My fallback one is always the Global Racing League. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, so anyway, yeah. So I'm really happy. Thanks for everyone for joining us. Thanks for being part of the chat, and we will see you next week, same time, same place. Remember, Marty's stream is tomorrow, right, Marty?
That's right.
You have a stream tomorrow, and
I
then
do. 8 p.m.
Warren will let us know as soon as he's launched, so we'll get him going.
I will do it.
Yeah, and
Cheers.
Dave is always around, so thank you so much, Dave, for everything you do.
I am always
Yeah.
around.
But yeah, thanks a lot, guys, and happy to see you guys, and we'll see you next week. Take care, guys.
All right.
Later.
Have a great week.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.